I gotta rant. I have to rant. I'm tired of the theatrics that is politics. So I know you guys kind of appreciate when I go off on these tangents. So I want to talk about this whole stimulus check thing. I'm not going to give specific details because I think we have enough people on YouTube giving stimulus check videos. But I do want to talk about the theatrical nature of politics and why I am so sick of it. Some things about the real estate market and a couple more things. So stick around for all that and more. It's Crystal with the Cash Compass. All right, welcome back. I am here to teach you all the things that you should have learned in school about money, but for whatever reason, they forgot to mention it. Please be sure to subscribe because we talk about everything from personal finance to investing to the economy. Let's get into it. First, let me preface this by saying, if you already got your stimulus check, how does it feel to be God's favorite? No, but it's kind of annoying because, all right, here we are for months and months and months, right? The Republicans and the Democrats had both for a long time agreed on a $1,200 stimulus check, right? So from the last stimmy, we was waiting for a $200 stimulus check for all these months. They were in agreement on $1,200. How do we end up with $600? I don't know. Okay, that's beyond me, but fine. Somehow we ended up saying, all right, you guys deserve even less money. So here's $600 instead. And good luck. So then they pass it through the House, they pass it through the Senate, everything is looking good. They're like, oh, you're going to get your checks next week. And this is before Christmas, mind you. So, you know, not everybody does this, but this does kind of have a mentality thing in people's heads where they spend before they make. That happens all too often. Hello, credit cards. Hello, any debt, right? Any debt, you're spending the money before you made it because you don't have the money available. So you're spending it now, right? And you're borrowing from your future self. But that kind of changes the psychology in people's minds because they're like, oh my God, like I can get that last minute Christmas gift. I can splurge on myself, whatever, what have you. So they'll spend that kind of extra money before the holidays. Then boom, out of friggin' nowhere, Trump is like, no, the American people need more. I'm not going to sign that. I want $2,000. So now I'm like, all right, we was at $1,200, but we forgot about that. All right. Then it's $600. Then it's $2,000. Somebody was like, listen, I don't know if it's $600 or $2,000. Just give us $2,600. And I felt that. But why I say this is theatrical is because there is absolutely no way that Trump did not know that this check was going to be $600, and for him to get on, you know, whatever media he got on and act so shocked and surprised and like disgusted, is theatrical because you did know about it, Trump. Like, there's no way you didn't. And then you're going to kind of delay things a little bit more. Now, granted, of course, we got that figured out. They signed it through office and people have already started getting their money. But the point I'm making is these things happen all too often. The whole, 8 months that passed by while we were waiting for this stimulus check was extremely theatrical. I mean, they proposed a new bill every other day, kind of keeping people thinking, okay, something's definitely coming, you know, and really messing with people's minds. And I actually, and I wish I had the article. If I can find the article, I will place it there. But I do remember literally out of the Federal Reserve Chair's, mouth or whatever, his own words. He, in so many words, basically said, you can just tell people you're going to do something and not actually do it and still get the results that you're looking for, right? So they can tell people stimulus check is coming and they can still get people to actually spend money because money velocity is something they're very, very interested in. And I will talk about that in a little bit later. Very interesting conversation. So please keep on watching. But they go ahead and tell you all this jibber jabber for months and months and months, and they act like they just cannot come together and make an agreement. I know we are humans. I know it's kind of in our nature to be argumentative and go back and forth. But baby, y'all been having the same argument for 8 months? That's a new record, all right? Where's the Guinness Book? It is a bunch of games to delay the American people money that they desperately need. And when it comes to corporations getting money and corporations getting their stimmy checks, that doesn't require much voting, right? The Federal Reserve can literally just kind of announce a new policy, and that's the end of that. There's no voting. There's no arguing. There's no Democrats and Republicans. It's just, right, money. And of course, they do the same thing to the corporations too. They just say, okay, we can buy corporate debt if necessary. We will, get these, buy up these corporate bonds. And they haven't really been making a whole bunch of purchases on that. But the point still remains. They got that without much fighting, okay? And with us, it's just this whole game that kind of messes with people's minds. And this is why it's so important for us to not depend on the government. I know we want to think of the government as our saving grace. We have a whole bunch of different entitlement benefits like SNAP and, rent assistance, Section 8, and whatever type of entitlement benefits we have. We have a whole bunch of different programs that offer people that help when they need it. But depending on that, you guys see, I don't have to even explain that. You see how long we've been waiting. What if you desperately needed that $1,200 and they took you on a 8-month journey just to get you $600? Can you depend on that? No, you can't. But this is what they do because they don't want to, use all their ammo at once, which I totally understand. So they'll just play these psychological games with you. And that is to kind of push the money velocity. So money velocity has been on a steady decline. And, while I do agree to a certain extent, we do need money velocity, right? Because money needs to be moving through the economy. Let's say everybody was afraid, nobody was spending money. Well, then there would be no money to have new investments. There would be no money to pay people, right? So that would cause a recession and have people kind of, on the clench with their funds, right? So we do need money moving through the market because it is how we get paid. However, I feel like personally, when they say they want money velocity, all it ends up doing is just kind of rushing into the hands of the wealthy. And I want to explain what I mean by that. Let's say we have 3 people in the economy, right? One is super rich, super responsible. They're the uber rich with the yachts and the cars and too much money. They just floss their teeth with their money, right? Because they just have so much cash. And then you have the other 2 people who are just kind of average Americans, don't really have a savings, kind of spend everything they get. YOLO, I want this new Louis Vuitton bag, so I'm buying it. Who cares if I don't have any savings, right? Those kind of typical American people. And I hate to generalize, but we are not really a nation of savers. That's just the facts. Don't get mad at me. So what happens in this economy? If everybody in this economy, all the 3 people get $5, right? The person who's super rich is probably going to save it because they know and they understand money. They let money work for them and they invest in assets. So they're kind of hoarding that money and they're stacking it into things that make them more money. The average American is just kind of blowing money away, actually paying that person, right? So let's say that was Jeff Bezos and the 2 average Americans spent money in Amazon. Well, now their $5 have gone to 0 and Jeff Bezos has the $15, okay? What happens to the other 2 people? If it was only a community of these 3 people and one person has all the money, what just happened? Wealth transfer straight out of your pocket into this person who's uber rich and who's going to only spend that money on things that make them money and not give so much back out into the economy, right? So money velocity is really important for the average American because it helps to kind of push that money into the hands of the rich, because I'm using a super simplified example, but that's exactly what happens, okay? Money runs through this economy, and once it gets to their hands, which it gets to their hands really quickly, as we can see, their money has doubled, tripled, quadrupled during this pandemic. They know how to hoard. They know how to put that money to work, okay? And when they suck that money out of the economy, they give the average American less money to work with, which is why the wealth gap is widening, because as the money moves through the economy, it's not moving once it gets to them. It's going into more assets, right? So now they have a whole bunch of buildings. They have a whole bunch of savings, investments, whatever. And average people don't have that much money between their little pool to actually use. This is why I stress the importance of financial literacy, because this is what they're doing. And if we don't kind of get that same mentality, well, we're going to end up stuck and hungry. So we have to be disciplined and say, you know what? I'm not going to spend this money. I'm not going to go on trips. And you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you know, I'd be on trips a lot, right? So, but I also understand the importance of putting money aside and making investments. Like I have videos on my channel, so feel free to click up here, talking about real estate investments, my investments in gold, all type of things. Okay, I have a whole investment playlist, so definitely check that out. But it's really important to have a balance and maybe even tip the scale over a little bit to investing heavy, especially if you are younger, because there's going to be enough time, you know, God willing, there's going to be enough time to enjoy your money and go on trips and buy the nice car when you can actually really comfortably afford it, right? But in a dog-eat-dog world right now where they're trying to suck up all that money for themselves and leave us for dead, we have to get like them. We just do. Practicing discipline is so important because that is how we are going to build our own nest egg, have our own FU money, and then do the things that we actually want to do in life when we're well established, okay? Another bone I want to pick is this whole real estate market thing, right? Because I read an article the other day saying that home sales were on the decline because home prices have gone up dramatically high. Yeah, no kidding, right? When you have rock bottom interest rates, the exact opposite happens. They say it's more affordable, and maybe it is, right? Like if you were able to catch that low interest rate right when it fell and before the market had time to adjust for that, then yeah, it was more affordable for you. But not everybody gets to do that, right? And at this point, the market has priced in all these rock bottom interest rates, so the prices of homes have gone up. I was looking around on Realtor.com, one of those websites, Zillow or something like this. And in many of the places that I was looking at, maybe like this time last year, they were projecting maybe a 1% growth rate, maybe 2% if you're looking good. Now it's like 7 or 8%. Why? Because interest rates are not going to move. And if interest rates do not move, the home prices will go up because people have this perceived notion of, oh, it's more affordable now, let me go out and get a home. Only to find out when you get out there, the prices have been jacked up because everybody felt that way and you guys have all pushed the price up. On top of the low interest rates, we also have the Federal Reserve buying mortgage-backed securities by the billions, okay, every single month. So what does this mean? This basically means that if I'm a bank and I know the Federal Reserve is going to buy up all these loans that I originate, I'm about to go on an originating spree. You get a loan. Bitch, I'm Oprah, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. So they're making a killing in origination fees because all they have to do is originate these loans, give it to you. Oh, guess what? They're so low interest rate right now. You should get a house. So everybody's coming in and getting these houses. They're originating it, right? So they're giving you the loan. And then they're going to turn it around, throw all those loans into a nice little box, and give it to the Federal Reserve. It's the Federal Reserve's problem now, which is really our problem, right? Because we pretty much guarantee these loans, which I've talked about before on my channel. So that is another reason why house price is going to continue to skyrocket because we basically have no incentive to be cautious about what kind of loans we're giving out, right? Rock bottom low interest rates, Federal Reserve buying up anything as long as you can put it together in a security, they're buying it. How can the house market actually get back to normal, right? They've pretty much forced a perfect market, especially when you consider that there's still rent and mortgage moratoriums. Like you're basically forcing people to stay in their homes, forcing people to go out there and try to buy a house. Like it's going to be really hard to tell where the market is going to go because there's so many things that are falsely propping it up, right? So in a normal cycle, yes, real estate would have been demolished right now, right? Because people wouldn't have been able to stay in their homes. There would have been a wave of foreclosures. I guess they realized that from the last crisis, so they were like, we don't want housing to go down, right? Like real estate goes up forever. And that's why they're kind of like having these fake props. But it's really hard to tell. So like when you're thinking about buying a house, it's like it's kind of hard. Like I literally am in the same position right now where I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like I want to wait because I do think that this is not sustainable, but how long am I going to have to wait? How many years are going to go by and they're still doing this? I mean, for example, they started these policies in 2008 where they were kind of propping up banks and too big to fail, and we never stopped doing that, right? So what if that happens again with real estate this time and they never stop propping it up? So should I just get a house now? Or will they actually back out? If they back out of the market will crash. If there's no more moratoriums, no mortgage moratoriums, no Federal Reserve buying up all these securities, it won't be able to sustain. Like that market would absolutely crash. But is that going to happen? I don't know. Overall, I think we are living in such a warped society, and it's like people do not want to acknowledge the good and the bad and have a healthy cycle, right? We just want to prop everything up and give everything the false sense of structure and the false sense of everything is good, nothing to see here. Meanwhile, there's fire going on in the background, right? And I don't think that's healthy. In life, we need balances. We need good and bad. We need black and white. Like, we need these things because that is the way normal markets work. When you're forcing out all those imperfections, well, then you're just creating a super mega bubble that eventually will pop. Who knows when? Who knows if we're going to even be alive for that, right? But it's just not sustainable. And I won't say I'm afraid, because I'm not afraid, but it is very, very interesting to see what will happen once, all these freebies stop and the real world has to try to get to this equilibrium. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this can go on forever? Do you guys think 2021 is the year that stuff will hit the fan? I want to hear from you, so let me know. But that will do it. If you like this video, then please like this video and consider sharing with your friends. And if you have anything else going on, you know what to do. Go ahead and binge watch me. And until next time, keep your money up.